Okay, I'll get up. What a wee wee. Bing! It's Nige, Bentley on a budget, and today I'm going to ruffle a few feathers with my new video cleaning the car. Nowadays, it seems really popular to get jet washes and to get foam and spend an awful lot of money on products to help you get your car cleaner than ever. And, you know, I get it. I like my gadgets, I like my toys, and I like to be able to spend money on things that I can justify the expense for. So I do have a jet washer and I do have some cleaning materials, but I also spent 20 years in the motor trade cleaning cars every day, every morning. Every one of those cars on the forecourt had to be mint ready for people to come and buy them. And I can share a few tricks of the trade with you that don't mean you have to break the bank and could make your life an awful lot easier. If that's interesting to you, then keep watching. Well, it's all go here today. There's dogs barking over the road. The nice old lady over there is coming out, and she'll probably stop to chat. But if not, I can tell you about the materials that I use to clean Nelly. Now, there's two principal kinds of wash. There's a full wash where you've got dirt on the car, and you'll see after our trip around Egton Bridge and everywhere else last week, Nelly's picked up a few filthy marks and bird poo and mud off the road and salt and everything else. And it's time for a full wash. So in that case, I'm actually going to use my jet washer. Now, a lot of very enlightened, knowledgeable people will tell you not to use a jet washer on a Bentley, and I would agree with them unless you're really careful. Never spray it into the window areas directly because the seals are just not that good. Make sure that if you are using a jet washer, your drain holes are all cleared out. There is a video somewhere that will tell you how to make sure that your drain holes are clear. So you don't want to be flooding your electric system, and keep away from the headlights and the tail lights with too much pressure. Basically, everything in moderation. So we would start by moistening the car with a light spray of water and allow that to soak in a little bit. And while that's happening, I would use this product, which is actually a wheel cleaner. It's the cheapest thing I could find, Carplan. It's not fancy, but it does work. It's a very low acid cleaner. You spray that onto the wheels and leave them for 5 minutes while you get ready for stage 2. Yeah, there's a shower bank. That's what you see every day. Auto free top. So this is, I think, 12 quid for 5 litres. So you can imagine it's of a certain quality, but it's certainly good enough. And you need a pump action spray to get it into all the nooks and crannies on the wheels themselves. I'll put some footage in of doing this in a minute. Next product is the high foam wash, which I use in the jet washer with this jet washer attachment. It sits upside down, and that puts not a high foam, but it does cover the car with suds. So having moistened it down, I'll give it a once over with this, and then you might think I would then brush it down with my noodle. Absolutely not. The next stage is actually to go back with the clean water jet and give it a good rinse off, and then go back with the foam. This removes an awful lot of the traffic film, and it loosens it, most importantly. Stage 2 involves a couple of buckets, a good quality noodle, and a little bit of time.
Washing off the dirt.
I did, however, mention there was two kinds of clean. You do not have to absolutely wash your car every time you clean it. When we were in the trade, we used to freshen cars up every day with a wash leather, which, if you haven't seen one, is basically sheepskin. Get a good quality one from Halfords for about 15 quid, decent size like that, and you store it in a plastic bag, and you only ever clean it with saddle soap. It's very important, don't use harsh detergents on them, and that will literally last you a lifetime. I've had this one 15 years, no problem at all. You'll see window cleaners using them. By the time the window cleaners get them, they're all raggy, but that works for them really well because it gets into all the nooks and crannies. And it's the same with this. They're really absorbent. It's good for wicking off water that's on the paintwork, but it's equally good if you use it in a bucket of hot water with a couple of dashes of vinegar and some salt. Now that might seem a bit strange because it's not even tea time, but if you put the vinegar in, vinegar is an excellent agent for cleaning grease. Perfect it is. 2 or 3 jots in a whole bucket of water and you're fine. The salt, if you're doing it on a hot day, stops the water from streaking as it dries. You know, when you've washed the car and it's very sunny and you get these white marks up and down, you can eliminate that with just a pinch of salt in hot water. It has to go in hot water so it dissolves. And so there you go. Do you have to spend 20 grand gearing up to wash your car? You really don't. This would be a maintenance wash. You could do this on a weekly basis as long as there's not a lot of crap on the car. You know, if you get particles, dust and bird muck and everything else, you do need to wash it. You must never rub grit into the car, and that's where the 2 bucket scheme comes in as well. So you've heard of the 2 bucket system, and essentially all it is 2 buckets. You have one with very, very clean water in, possibly your hot water with a bit of soap suds or whatever, and you have another bucket which is to wring your cloth out with when you've been over the car with it. So you never ever dip it into the clean bucket when you've given it a wipe. You always go into the mucky bucket, then you go into the clean bucket, and then you go back again. This just means that the grit and contaminants are not likely to scratch up your nice paintwork and create those horrible hazy patterns that you see in direct sunlight. So that's wash number 2. Today we're doing wash number 1 though, so it's a biggie. It's hands on. We give that 5 minutes, let it soak in, and then we can clean it off. Good old Mrs. Santini. So we're going to hit it again with the clean water. Just notice I'm not spraying directly into the windows. I'm going around them. It's no worse than rainfall would be.
Soap suds drip the chrome delight. The Bentley shines under the blazing light. Spinning sponge in hand feels so divine. Is this a chore or a moment to unwind? Gold rays dance on that silver grill. Engine off, but the world is still. Hose in hand, whispering through the breeze. Time stands still with moments like these. Is it a waste or a treasure? You decide. Rinsing off the miles. Let the water...
So even with the water splashing over the wheels, they're looking better already, but they will get much better if you do them in detail with a soft brush or with a sponge, and that's what we'll be doing after the next lot of foam, which is happening next.
Each street gone is a thought set free. reflections bending like they're meant to be. Liquid jewels slide down to pay, washing troubles into the day I crave. Maybe they'll say you just killed the clock, but I've turned dust to diamonds on my block. Every swipe echoes joy I invent, wasting time or pure
So we're just going to let that do its job, take on extra grease and any of the bits of bird poo and salt and everything else that attracts itself to the car this time of the year, and then we'll give it a good rub down and a spray off. And that's basically how you do the valet with the high foam wash. Now this isn't like the high foam wash you see on TV or on videos where it becomes like this great snow foam thing, which looks amazing, but I don't know whether it's any better. This just delivers a good coating of whatever it is that you're using to clean with, and I'm very happy with it. It works really well. So let's crack on. So this is just a clean water wash now. Once we've got this washed off, we'll hit it with the jet again on a high mist, and it'll be good for leathering.
soap suds drip the chrome delight. The Bentley shines under the blazing light.
Just the point when I'm doing this, I actually work the top edge of the panels all the way around first. I wouldn't do this unless I'd already given it 2 different courses of cleaning. I would be cleaning my sponge out more regularly. But principally, most of the worst dirt is found under the windows. So once you get to the windows and down, it's time to start changing up a bit. For now, happy days. It doesn't take long to wash these. It's actually some of the nicest, smoothest bodywork I've ever cleaned, and I've cleaned a lot of cars. You don't catch your fingers in nasty little places. And by and large, it's just a pleasure to do. Right, we'll have a rinse. One thing this foam application is good for is it tells you where you've cleaned and where you haven't. So it's really just like colouring in after a point. And you don't miss any bits, which is nice.
Maybe they'll say you just killed the clock, but I've turned dust to diamonds on my block. Every swipe echoes.
Right, now I've done the sill, I won't touch the door until it's clean. Obviously the sills by far get the most road mud grit. The stuff that gets on the roads in winter, I've already got a fly stuck on my car. I'm sorry, fly. No offence, mate. No hitchhikers. Get out and walk. Same again. Give it a good rinse, and then we'll get on with the wheels.
Soap suds drip the chrome delight. The Bentley shines under the blazing light. Spinning sponge in hand feels so divine.
So the next really important bit is a cup of tea, and after that we're going to leather her off. So as mentioned, The leathering bit is actually straightforward. You need a little bit of salt, just a touch, and a couple of drops of vinegar in your water, and you won't get any of that streaking on hot days. And the vinegar will also clean off any smears and grease from the windscreen and from the polished paintwork too. It's good stuff. Get your leather, give it a wash, slop it on. This is almost like the final wash. You always miss something, and the leather's a really good way of picking it up. But the beauty about leather is you squeeze it out, it becomes incredibly absorbent. So we'll just drape that on there, pull it along, and that, my friends, is almost dry. I know microfiber towels are very good and they've got drying mitts and everything else, but I don't know, I see this a lot in the trade that I'm in. I'm a plumber, and they keep inventing new things to make your life more expensive. And granted, some of them are improvements, but actually most of the time it's just somebody who's thinking there's money to be made out of this, and there's no real need to change some things. And it's the same with valeting equipment. And I know the professional valeters will be up in arms, but trust me guys, I have immense respect for you, and I'm not knocking you. And while people are prepared to pay 200, 300, 400 quid to get the car properly detailed, and that is, you know, it's masterful skill that you have. And you're no different to me. When a new drill comes out, I'm going to buy it. We all like our toys, don't we? And there's probably people poised at the keyboard to tell me that I'm doing it all wrong. And yeah, you may be right. This is a 20-year-old car. It gets cleaned every week, or at least every fortnight, if I'm on a job. I can't get to it. And she's in a really good RAF. Is she immaculate? Nah, she's not. But then I don't need her to be immaculate. She lives on the street, and she does a good job for me. And I'm not afraid of picking up a stone chip. I'll deal with it if I get one, don't get me wrong, but I'm not living on tenterhooks, because she started out her life with me as not being immaculate and in perfect condition. And that's actually quite a nice chilled place to be. In fact, my heart goes out to anybody who's got an immaculate car. You want to be on YouTube?
Oh, not really.
Oh, go on, say hello.
Hello.
Hello, how's you?
I'm Jen.
Jen, this is Jen. We've got a new friend on the channel. Don't know about you, but I find the world is a much nicer place the nicer you are. Yeah, nice is maybe not it. I'm not particularly nice. I believe in the rule of 3, right? Whatever you do comes back to you 3 times. So if you're a bad person, 3 times as much bad stuff comes back every time you're wrong. And if you're a good person, then who knows? Maybe 3 times as much good happens. But one thing that I do know for sure, when I'm polite and cheerful with people, I feel better about myself, and they feel better about themselves. And just for that minute, the world's a bit of a nicer place. Hey up, Svengali Nige. Svengali on a budget. That's the next one. In fact, I'm thinking I might do a cooking channel, because I'm too tight to buy takeaways, but I'm really good at making them. Made pizza last night. Oh, been doing it for about 20 years. It costs you about £3 a pizza. All fresh ingredients, fresh dough, fresh sauce, cooked at home. Right, that's it, done. Great, so from in here we're going to go inside the car, and then I'm going to have a look at some scratch repair, because we've got a few minor scratches and we've got a really good product to deal with it. Stay tuned. So I don't know if you can see this, but we've got some fairly minor scratches here. There's one here and one here, and there's one going across there, which I don't know where I've picked them up, but it could just be clothing getting rubbed against it, or maybe when I've been cleaning it even, it could have happened. Now, I used to use this in the trade, and it's absolutely fantastic stuff. We used the big tubs of it, very éclat. So we'll give this a go on that scratch and see what it does. Need 2 cloths for this, one to apply it and one to buff it off afterwards. First cloth's going to do most of the work, so we'll start with that one there. Just go round and round and round. Give it a real good swirl. I can see it's actually looking less prominent already. In fact, it's actually very hard to see now. It'll come back when muck gets into it and everything, but no, that's not a bad job at all. Like that. I've got another one down here, so I'm going to go with that. This is a deeper one. A bit more doubtful about this one. Tempted to spit on my cloth, but in polite society that's not acceptable. One good thing about these Bentleys, which I was disappointed in the BMW for, is the thickness of paint. I don't know how many microns there are, but it reminds me of old-fashioned paintwork. It's really forgiving. You've got a lot of depth with it. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So if you've got any little scratches, I'm not getting paid for saying this, but that's a product that's worth its salt. Actually works. Bit of elbow grease. Job's a good one. Yeah, I don't know whether you can make this out, but actually the interior's seen better days, needs some repair. Definitely needs a good clean. The problem you have sometimes with cars of this age is that they may have been repaired before and people have painted. So you've got to be careful when you're trying to clean things up. The Bentley handbook recommends that you only use warm water with a very mild detergent in it to clean all of the interior, and I would say that's probably your safest bet. But there are also leather cleaners on the market. I use one, wasn't expensive as you probably guess, but it does a good job and it feeds the leather, keeps it supple, stops it cracking as much. But I can see probably one of my future projects is going to be to actually have a go at restoring these seats and this interior. She's not bad for a 20-year-old, it's actually brilliant, but it's just starting to feel a little bit like it needs a do. The stitching's not showing up, and although there's no real bad wear on anything, which is remarkable, you think she's done 109,000 miles. Yeah, it's getting ready for a bit of love, a bit of TLC. Cool. Oh, so that's the video for today. I hope you found it useful, and I hope I don't get too much stick from all the professional valeters that are going to be cross with me about it. If you want to get your car detailed and pay a lot of money for it, then by all means feel free, but usually it comes down to common sense and elbow grease, even if you do buy these expensive polishes and ceramic coatings and things. And I've got some ceramic coating to use, so once I've clayed her off, and clay, by the way, is just putty, we use it in plumbing, it's exactly the same stuff. So you don't have to pay 20 quid for a piece like that, you know, it's about £2 a tub. The key to it is making sure that your paintwork's really well lubricated when you're using it. After that, the putty does the same job whether you've paid 20 quid for it or a couple of quid. You just got to make sure that you don't scratch the surface by keeping it nice and wet, a little bit of detergenty water. Right, that's all for me this week. If you found that useful, apologies for the nose, then please subscribe. If you're looking for help with your Bentley, then become a member at the higher tier, which is £2.99 a month. There's a link in the description down below. And as ever, happy motoring, and I'll see you next time.